This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But
Just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants. And
my wife will tell you she wants to burn mine.
People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They
I
watch
told
it.
you, yeah.
play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy, but
You got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule.
I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love.
Hey,
well, you
doing
can come
that
with.
game.
That's not the thing.
I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show,
Yes,
listening.
yes.
Right? That
Yep.
caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
And I know they're watching now as we get ready for hour two on this Wednesday morning. Bison men's basketball coach Dave Richman joins us each and every Wednesday at 10 o'clock for his favorite thing he does all week. I'm sure that's the case. Bison getting ready for hitting the road, going to Kansas City tomorrow, and then a game with Omaha on Saturday. The obvious first question is of what happened Sunday. I know you can't be thrilled on what's gone down. Give me the 180 view of this. Like what have you seen the last couple games that's been what's transpired on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been fairly conveyed and a truthful Dave Richman that I feel like I saw some of these things coming even when we were winning games, right? And gosh, I love winning, but it's always about a process. And I think we were forming some bad habits. We weren't understanding some things even as we were winning, and that's cost us. And I hope that you can articulate some things, but the best way to experience something is to actually go through those experiences. And we got punched on Thursday against a good South Dakota State team, and then we walked into a buzzsaw on Sunday, and we didn't help ourselves. And listen, that was a great environment against a very good St. Thomas team. And no disrespect, I'm not taking anything away from that, but I'll be damned if I ever talk about something outside of our control that we can't fix and get better. And bottom line is we've seen it all, and we have to start being that version of us consistently. This is a very good team that we have. This is a team that I enjoy being around immensely. There's great character. We have to understand that when we tie those shoes on game night, we gotta be ready for a fight. We gotta be ready to compete every single time, and what it takes to actually get over the hump, especially against good teams on the road like we got coming up.
The game Sunday, Dave, was that the frustrating part of how it started? It felt like, boy, you guys just got punched and didn't able to respond?
Oh, I don't know about that, Dom. I thought our guys, responded a little bit. I mean, it felt like we were down 1 million, and I looked up in one of the timeouts, and it was an 11-point game, and we had battled back. I think the frustrating part is, you're going to play good teams. They're going to do some things, and can you continue to trust your process consistently over and over? And we have great guys. They understand it. They own it. But, it's a matter of then going out and executing that. It's a matter of us continuing to, as a staff, reiterate those things and going through those situations in practice.
To have that kind of start, and then you mentioned you did respond there. You hit some threes, and that's just, I know that's the name of the game, but when those aren't falling, how do you address that? Like, I know this is our offense, but what is, I guess maybe a lack of a better term, a plan B or a plan C of how we're going to get to the basket, how we're going to score?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a plan A, right? And it always has been, for me. It's I understand it a little bit. Like we're top whatever offensively and all the things, but the bottom line is you get into stiffer competition. You get into stiffer competition late in the season, like those things don't always work.
Yeah.
And we had some pretty pointed conversations yesterday. I showed them video, I showed them numbers, and it was very matter of fact. And even this late in the year, even taking some role definition and defining it even more. We're not going to change the way we play offense from a like our formations or our schemes are going to look similar, but that's I gave a TEDx talk in 2019. Here's what you're doing, but more importantly, here's how you're doing it. And we need to change some things about how we're doing our offense right now. And I articulated those things to the guys yesterday.
Court awareness is always a thing you preach. Stepping out of, is that, what do you do as a coach? How do you even address that?
I don't know. I mean, like we have a sign in our locker room, and we talk about it's not an accident, it's a way of life. 90. You think about it, 97% of accidents are probably preventable, right?
Yeah.
Because someone's on a cell phone or someone's doing all these things, and so okay, one time maybe, but I think it's a little bit like where St. Thomas is dictating to us, right? They're into
Yeah.
us, they're pressuring us out, and so we start working backwards, and that can't happen. We have to go into a fight. We have to go into a fight on our toes, not on our heels a little bit. And for the last two games, there's been 6, 7 times that we've just simply had a foot fault and cost ourselves an opportunity.
Is that forcing things, you think, too, Dave, because of what the score is or what the momentum of the game is going?
I think it's kind of the opposite,
Mm.
Dom. I really do. I think it's where we're being too passive. We're not
Yep.
being aggressive.
Mm.
Like I said, like I mean, you're the sidelines here, and we're getting
Yeah.
pushed. We're getting pushed against it. Like we need to be more aggressive in doing those things.
I know sometimes you can galvanize, maybe is the term, going out on the road. You got to go. It's the next game on the schedule. You feel like this might be the right time. Okay, let's get away. Let's go. It's just us. Be on the road in a hostile place. I know Kansas City isn't necessarily the most hostile environment, but it's always a tough place to play.
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Like do this Zoom with our 15 guys. They're gonna have whatever. Like I know this. Like I love these guys. They keep responding to some tough, uncomfortable conversations. But we weren't very good Sunday on the road, right? We haven't been very good at home. Like bottom line is we got to get better, and we got to own these things no matter where we're at. Like you can talk about the game Thursday night and us going on the road. I can talk about the game Sunday and us being on the road. Like, where are we at today at
Yeah.
noon when we practice? Let's go.
Where do you get a sense of the guys from the last couple of days of being around them
They've
in
been
practice?
great. They've been great. Like I said, I think there's character in the room. There's talent in the room. There's a group that likes being around each other. As a staff, we enjoy being around them. But the reality is we've seen it all. We've seen it all. There never has been excuses, but there clearly isn't any excuses. And the group understands, right? They understand, like as a staff, we've got to coach better. They understand then as players they got to play better, and that's got to be a collaboration of us, as we move forward.
Kansas City is always a matchup, Dave, that just it's not a nightmare, but just they play a certain way. It's going to be tough, defensive. They're going to be in your face. What is it about it that just when you look at it, boy, not many teams play that way in college basketball in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a style that I love. And as you know, like I have a tremendous amount of respect for Marvin, Coach Menzies, and he understands, winning. Like he's built that thing, and they got all the way up to, whatever second last year and second or third, and now this year they're preseason number one because they're going to defend. Bottom line, they're going to defend and rebound at a high level. They're going to make you beat them. And I watched that Oral Roberts first half, and you're thinking all this and that with KC. But the bottom line, Oral Roberts is just throwing a lot of tough shots in, right? But Kansas City's still in front of them. They're still competing on the glass, and they battle all the way back. And we know there's going to be physicality. There just always is. They got great length and athleticism, and I just think they're tough. They're extremely disciplined team, and it's another hornet's nest that you can be walking into because this is a team that's lost a bunch of close games, and I know how that works. They're getting MF'd in practice all week and all those things. They're going to be rip roaring ready to go against the Bison, especially right out of the gates.
How different of a coach are you now when you've had a couple losses like this than say you were 7-8 years ago? What do you notice differently about yourself, how you address the team or talk with the team than you would maybe 7-8 years ago?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's, if I'm going to hold myself accountable to a part of a process and it's being consistent in that process, no matter the results. Yeah, and even to Javis Miller will tell you, man, coach, you're a lot different than you were 2 years ago. There's some things that I have to tell some guys that I love, like yesterday, that I don't like. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. There's moments where I can choose to be a little bit better and when to articulate those things. But yeah, especially when you're around a group that you really love and you really like and they're fun. It does me no good this time of year to run Mason Miller and Luke Kasuki into the ground. they're older. Their legs don't need that anyways. They understand that they need to be better, but it also needs to get articulated in some video sessions, in some statistical standpoints that we've tried to show them, and then in practice, right, going out and executing it.
Would you feel like you were more, and I could say this as I've gotten older, like quick to react then than you are now, like just a snap thing than you would be now?
Yeah, and that again, I'm a guy that's trying to live my faith better and better every day to become a better version of myself, and that's one of the things at the very top for Dave Richman. And I've had people talk about who I am on the sidelines this year. Like it does me no. You need to not react. You need to respond. You need to take a deep breath and really understand. You need to understand, that these are 18 to 23-year-olds, and is something going on outside of the game of basketball, and to have empathy to that, to validate those feelings, but yet then on the other side of it, be like true professionals no matter what. You and I talked, and like, okay, just say you got sick kids at home, right?
Yep.
That sucks.
Yes.
Sucks, right? It's part of it, man. There's nothing worse than your kids going through a sickness. But yet when I come to work, like, Kansas City doesn't care that I got a sick kid at home. Right. And so it's validating that balance, and the great ones can flush it for 40 minutes, right? And take it all out and move on.
You feel like this is not necessarily a turning point, but figure out this coming weekend will really kind of define what your season is going to be for the last month of it?
I've learned, that there's certain things and certain times that I just got to be better, right? I do, but I do know the one thing I'm most proud of is sustained success in North Dakota State, and that I would love nothing more than to celebrate a victory with our guys on Thursday night. I would, because that builds confidence, and there is that joy, but we have figured out when it goes back to who I am and not a results based and process based, like, gosh, I get it. Bison fans can be upset. You can ask these direct questions right out of the gates about where's Bison basketball at. The bottom line is a couple days, in late February, early March are really going to define this, right? And trust me, we're trying to win every single damn game. And I need to remind you, I need to remind myself, we're 16-8.
Yeah.
We are a really good team. We have beaten Butler. We have done all these things. But it's the chair that I sit in, I love it. I love that it's such a what have you done for me lately society. And what we've done lately isn't where we want to be. And so we got to get better.
And I'm not trying to be a homer on that, but you're right. I mean, you're 16-8. You have it's how sports is, especially collegiate athletics, where you have that all seems like it's wiped away because of what's happened the last two games. I'm sure that is for you too.
Yeah. And that's the part I need to remind myself. Yeah. I need to articulate this to the guys. Guys, that's sometimes, as you can see me getting going right now, sometimes that's my frustration.
Yeah.
I think at this point of the season, like, if you were losing these two games and you were 8-16 or 10 and whatever, like, you would just be, okay, you're a little resigned to, like, we don't have it for whatever reason, right? We don't have it. That's not the case, right? And so what we have it, where is it consistently? And that's my job, to continue to articulate what that consistency looks like.
Let's break. We come back, chat a little bit more on the upcoming road trip to Omaha also, and Jackson Money being named to the Oscar Robertson watch list. Pretty big deal for a guy playing at North Dakota State. We'll do that. Much more with Dave. We come back after this. Back here on Hot Mic, Dave Richman joining us for a few more minutes. They're getting on an airplane, heading down to Kansas City here in just a little bit. And then it's on to Omaha. And, you look at, and it's mid-major basketball. Heck, it's college basketball 2025, where you can't predict anything, and the league is as volatile as it is. South Dakota State goes to Grand Forks and loses on Saturday after they won in Fargo. I know we're at the time of the year. I'm assuming you're looking at where things are at, right? Like, okay, this is where we're at with X many games to go in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's our main focus. Clearly, the standings, the things that are coming up, and I think the next couple weeks with St. Thomas at South Dakota State, tomorrow night, and just things where, Omaha is playing really well, and they're going to clearly UND. Us going there, I think there's some opportunities for some challenges there. Now Omaha is going to go on the road. They still got to go on the road to St. Thomas and South Dakota State. Like there's a lot of those things that are out there, Dom. But like again, those things are outside of our control. And gosh, like I hope we end up as the first place seed. I don't know mathematically. You're smarter than I am when it comes to that. If we can. But at the same sense, like all that crap is out of our control, and it's not crap. All of that is out of our control. We need to get better. I know, but like we need to get better at practice today. What does that look like? We need to have a tougher mentality to do. We hate giving away our game plan, but to do this differently, maybe just a little bit offensively, right? Defensively, like just really. I think the word that keeps coming up is really like you're playing high level offensive teams. Okay. You're playing skilled teams. The game of basketball has changed. And so you're going to give up some things, right? But we can bend, but we can't break. And sometimes we're breaking at the end of a possession a little bit and then finishing possessions and just really reiterating those things.
Couple things I want to hit on before I let you go. I know you guys announced you're going to have Alumni Day coming up the next time you're home, I think on the 15th. Which has always been cool to see some guys come back. How big has that grown over the last couple of years? You've had former players come back to watch your team play.
Yeah, I've been here a long time, obviously, and one of the benefits of that is really trying to kind of connect and tie in some groups, and it's been when building the process to win games is the number one priority, but. I worked for Tim Miles for 4 years, and he always talked about that legacy piece. He always talked about, Bison football, the history, tradition, the success, and that continuity, right? Then, and the coaches that have come and gone here, they're so selfless, right? They understand it was successful. Like Randy Hedberg said it again in his press conference. We were successful before me. We were successful with me. We'll be successful after it, right? And I think that really goes back to the foundation of the alumni. And those guys of really understanding like you're laying the foundation, that legacy piece, and to bring them back and to honor them and for them to be around and to have some spirit and pride behind what they've done is always very important to myself and to us.
Did he give you a shout out during his press conference on Monday, by the way?
He did. Yeah, he talked about how he did everything. And then I heard our brass at the higher level, like, that makes sense. We could save some money. We could have a football, basketball, and a baseball coach, do it all right there.
I know I'm good at a football mind.
And I know this, I'd be a better football coach than Tim would a basketball coach, right? Tim would probably eat the basketball and fight the officials and, all those things.
What kind of football coach would you be? I'm really curious on this now.
Well, I knew this. And I've been talking to my football colleagues lately. Like we would run the ball. We would run the damn ball, and do all those things.
Yeah. I know it's you're not worried about awards or anything like that. You're worried your next game, but Jackson Money got a pretty good notoriety here to be named to the Oscar Robertson watch list, which goes to best player that's going in college basketball. The fact you got a guy from in your own backyard up for that. Describe what that's meant to the kind of season that he's had for your team.
I need to talk to you more often, apparently. Last week you told me Randy was retiring. Yeah. This week you told me Jackson's on this award. You can tell how much I'm paying attention.
I know you're paying attention to it.
to those things. No. I think it's a tremendous thing for our program. You talk about the exit of the portal and me embracing some of those things. Like, look at the success that a Grant Nelson's having. You talking about us embracing the portal and guys coming in, and Jackson, and certainly they were great character and had some things developed, but I think it speaks to our program in the development piece and the style of basketball that we play. Listening to Randy the other day talking about the style, and all those things. But but also like give Jackson a ton of credit. Like he's embraced us. We've embraced him. But he's also smart enough to understand, like he's able to do these things because of the parts he has around him, Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we had a bunch of Dom Izzos and Dave Richmans that couldn't shoot, like there'd be a pretty tight quarters and he wouldn't be able to operate. Jackson's a Jackson's, I'm talking to these scouts and agents all the time about him, right? Jackson's a terrific basketball player. He's got a high IQ. He accepts challenges. He wants to get better. I'm in a different space with him. Like, I can go to breakfast with him and we can drink coffee together and BS about life and helping each other out. Like, he's a terrific young man. He's been, like, he talks about stories about how, and I want everybody to hear this. And I say this, I don't care how you hear it. Like, I don't care, right? I'm going to use a Tim Paul. I don't care what you think of me after I say this, but like, he was raised by parents who parented him. They told him the truth. He told me a story, Dom, where in third grade, he did not score. Listen to this, okay? This is a guy that's on some watch list. In third grade, he did not score a basket all year. Okay?
Yeah.
And Charles's father told him, well, if you want to do something with basketball, then you need to start working at it. You need to do something about it. And then the next year, he's hitting 15-foot jumpers, right? And then he materializes into, this. And I just think that that's coaching. That's parenting to me,
yeah.
right? And being able to, like my daughters, I feel bad for them, but they're loved, and they're sometimes they're tough loved.
Yep. It's all about going that kind of developing the player that he's turned into here for you for this entire season. Before we let you go, and I know this is the old reporter question here. You going on the road? Do you need a quick start? Would that help? Would that jump start? Do you think that's necessary? I guess maybe the best way to phrase it for you on Thursday night, tomorrow night.
Coaches got cliche things too, but so do you damn media guy. You got the same, quick, I would love a quick
Yeah, you'd love
start.
to be up 10-0. I know the answer, but
Hey, but like South Dakota State, we were up 13.
yeah, right.
And we beat that down our leg. To me, I don't, I have a weak stomach. So I'm not looking forward to any turbulence on the plane, right? So I don't mind a roller coaster because Kenley likes to go on a roller coaster. I'll go on it with her. But you start throwing me on that thing a couple more times, and I'm going to sit down and probably vomit, right? And so what I don't like is this. I don't like this, and unfortunately, a little bit of, that's where we're at right now. We got to get off that damn thing.
Hey, I was a dynamite outside shooter. I'll tell you that right now. I was pretty good.
Oh,
I was pretty good.
Now I have heard it all. There's no way you were dynamite.
I was pretty good from long range. I'm gonna tell you that. By the way, before we go, so this year you've said I'm right, and you got to listen to me more. You've said that on this show twice over now.
Yeah, something's wrong with me. This something is wrong with me. Am I having a midlife crisis? Somebody better check me into something.
That's where you're at with things right now. Safe travels, bud. Good luck tomorrow night, all right?
Hey, brother, be good.
There he goes. Dave Richman, NDSU men's basketball coach, joining us each and every Wednesday. Bison at Kansas City coming up tomorrow. We'll break. We come back. The head football coach is here. Tim Polasek will join us on National Signing Day, Part 2, on the additions the Bison have to their football team. That's coming up. We come back right after this.